Okay, here we are. Alt.nerd.obsessive. Worst episode ever.
Hey everybody, welcome to Worst Episode Ever, a podcast for people who love The Simpsons, by people who love The Simpsons, about how much we hate The Simpsons. We are here trying to find which is the worst episode ever, and as has been true for the last 100 episodes, my name is Dan.
And has been true for the last 97, and guess which three weren't really me? My name is Jack.
It's good to have you here, Jack. I didn't like that other guy who came in for those weird 3 episodes.
My imposter.
Guy Incognito was here for a little while. Welcome, everyone. This is We 100. This is a big deal.
Is it?
It's not that big of a deal. It's just a number, really. It's arbitrary completely.
Yeah, 100 is the 99th most loneliest number.
It's very true in a lot of ways, and not true in a lot of other ways.
Mostly not true.
Mostly not true. But guys,
this is crazy. 100.
yeah, we're about to go live. We're recording this at a Periscope, so
Yeah.
you may be watching this on YouTube. I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Well, you wouldn't be watching this.
I guess this part wouldn't make it up
Yeah.
onto YouTube. This is exclusive for the podcast
just
listeners.
for our OGs.
This is just for those
Our
iTunes
ogling girls.
Oh baby,
All
I
those
love
girls are
ogling
just-
the girl.
No, they ogle us.
Oh, I like.
Grape.
It's like a circle of ogling.
It's a circle ogle.
It's it's a circle ogle. Well, it's funny that you bring up ogling girls because this episode tonight is about Mo.
Oh yeah, he
the
loves
creepy
to
leader of a
ogle
rape
girls
cult.
slash maybe rape them. Yeah.
Yeah, so tonight for our 100th episode, we have been saving this episode since we started this show. We were like, we got to save something in the can for 100. We're going to do season 23's Mo Goes From Rags to Riches, originally aired January 29th, 2012. Jack, have you seen this one?
No, January 2012. That was Obama's inauguration. No, that was 2013.
Yeah, that's correct, Jack.
No.
I'm not Obama.
No.
I'm not Obama.
I know.
I'm legally
I
distinct.
know, it's some kind of character.
And I'm not African American because that would be offensive.
So you're white Obama? That seems
No.
That seems
That's not my name.
problematic.
My name
Dan's
is
new character for worst episode ever, number 100. White Obama.
most people just call me John.
John White.
John Bama
John
from
Bama.
Alabama.
John Bama from Alabama.
Yes.
The white Obama.
That's right. Is that a problem?
Well, it's been a great 100 episodes, everybody.
We've been canceled.
I wish we could have made it to 101.
Real quick, before we get into the actual episode, this episode is our most requested episode ever, with 14 people have suggested this episode.
Calls.
I'm gonna run our most calls ever. No, Janice doesn't live here. So here we go. The first suggester of this episode, not applicable. So thanks for that.
Do we want to do this live? So we're doing this is kind of
okay.
this is
We
a
can
little
do
bit
it.
of a weird format. Basically, we're doing 2 intros because we're going to do one for a video. And why even bother with an audio intro? Usually we don't when we do a video.
I think that's exclusive.
There's just one conversation I really want to have now. We'll do everything else in the video.
Okay, let's do it.
We haven't seen the episode yet.
No, we
when
have not.
When we do the video, we will have seen it.
Yes.
So let's talk about this.
What we
this
think the
episode
episode
has
will
like
be.
crazy high expectations for us because most people I think say it's just terrible. A lot of people expect it to be our new worst episode ever.
Right. I think partially we are, but also I'm going in cautiously optimistic that this episode is some kind of underappreciated gem.
I don't know about underappreciated gem. I have a feeling, this is just random and I'm not going to skew the numbers later. I have a feeling it's going to end up more in our middle. Because
Yeah,
it
we'll
sounds
see.
like it's experimental, so it's going to do somewhat okay in originality.
Right.
It's from a season that generally does okay. I mean,
I feel
Gaga's in there, which was no good. But
23
Roosevelt's
was a bit of a mixed bag.
Book Job was in
Book
there.
Job's pretty high up. Roosevelt's is in the middle.
The episodes we tend to ding are either really, really jerk-assy characters or really poor plotting. It's not like, what a stupid concept. I'm okay with stupid concept. Take a show like Rick and Morty. They get their bread and butter on really shitty concepts and, just take off.
Yeah, and then just going to the not necessarily the logical extreme.
As long
but
as I love far out like crazy logics, but I also like grounded.
yes, you want a simple down to earth show that's swarming with back talking robots.
Exactly. Yeah, but if there's an internal logic to something, and it's good writing, and it's interesting, and the characters are doing what they're supposed to, and it's a good story. Mose Rag could be a great character. I could love it.
It could be. We'll see. We're going to find out in a moment. And if you haven't seen the episode, you can watch it on Simpsons World or wherever you've been watching episodes for the past 100 episodes. I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think it'll be our best episode ever.
A lot of these things, just the hype tends to take on a life of its own. Like Geely.
I think you're right.
Geely is not the worst movie. I've never seen it, but I'm assuming Geely is not the worst movie ever. But you got Ben Affleck. You got J-Lo. It's probably a bad movie.
It was a big budget bomb.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something where they're swinging for the fences and missing so hard. Like something like The Room, which I don't even think is the worst movie ever. It's still...
Yeah. But, yeah, so... The hype gets away from itself. It just lots like people like Marvel fans like Iron Man 3 is the worst. It's a terrible movie.
Iron Man 3 is a great movie.
Yeah, I think it's the best one. But I would say even if you're not a big Shane Black fan, you can't say what a terrible movie.
Oh, you like movies that take place at Christmas? Yeah. What's wrong with you?
It just fucks with your expectations, and the hype becomes famous for being bad.
Yeah.
And this episode is certainly famous for being bad.
Yeah. So we are going to take you inside the hype on this We100. We're going to be back.
Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's all god-awful.
When we come back, we very well may be like, well, that was a piece of shit, and that's the end of the episode. We'll find out. We don't know yet, but you might when we take a break.
For the
one.
For the 100th time.
Whoa. For the 100th time.
Every time I look around. Wait, is that in the deleted scenes? Fuck!
Yes, that's right. Everyone laugh at the rag. But I was not always this bestained swatch you see before you. Oh, no, gentles. We begin in early medieval France.
So, we are live right now on Periscope and nothing else.
And no other platforms.
No Facebook
we tried to do a few others, but it took us an hour to get Periscope working, as it
Twitch,
usually does.
45 minutes late.
Yeah.
And we purposely set it late to begin with.
Yep.
Oh, I just hate everything.
So now it's even later than late.
So, if you're listening to this on the podcast audio, then you probably already heard our intro.
Yes.
We're going to repeat ourselves just a little bit, but we're going to add a lot for our lovely, lovely fans that have joined us. And apologies to the fans who couldn't. This was pretty last minute, and I'm sure most of our international listeners are in bed or blown up by nuclear weapons.
Oh, God, I hope not.
I hope not either. I hope that didn't imply us hoping for that.
It sounds like you're saying that Hitler is a great man again, Jack.
No, I'm saying Trump is a terrible president. Anyway, so, Dan.
Jack.
Where should we start? We watched Moe's Rags to Riches.
We watched Moe's Rags to Riches.
I said at the top of the show, we talked about it. You guys are listening live, don't know about this yet.
Yeah.
We said we didn't believe you guys. We thought maybe there was a decent chance this episode was underrated because it couldn't have been that bad.
I believe I said I was cautiously optimistic.
You were cautiously optimistic. I was actually less optimistic. I said it would be middle of the road. You think it might be the worst episode ever.
Without a doubt, it's the worst episode ever.
Really?
Unquestionable. This episode was unwatchable. It is static.
It was
There's
literally
nothing.
It was literally like watching nothing. Now, but to me, that's not painfully bad. That's painfully bland.
Well, we'll get into the specifics. I do want to.
It's like manslaughter, not murder.
Man's laughter, my favorite crime. I want to get into.
Laughing.
I want to get into.
That's the crime.
I want to get into who suggested this episode before we forget because we got a lot to name.
Okay.
This is our most requested episode ever. It is 14 people suggested this episode. First, we have NA. So thank you, NA. Like, not applicable. Elliot Mahan suggested this one.
Thank you,
Steph
NA.
OB.
Thank you, Elliot. Steph.
Darren.
Thank you, Darren.
I assume from Bewitched.
Which one?
Both of them. At JRG Comedy. So there's a free plug for that Twitter account.
What was it? What was it again?
At JRG Comedy.
Thank you, JRG. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. A lot of the commenters seem to be agreeing with you. Zeros across the board.
We'll see. It's a piece of fucking garbage.
Somebody did say the B plot was the worst part, and I agree with that.
We will absolutely get into that. Eric R. suggested this episode.
Thank you, Eric R.
Julian suggested it.
We hope you are listening. Thank you, Julian.
Jared G. in the house.
Thank you, Jared. That's not the Subway guy. That's Jared F. Right?
That's Jared.
Oh.
Jared.
You missed
F him in the A in prison.
You were one letter off from being one of thems.
Literally a blank, just no name. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Invisible Man.
Swamp Hag suggested this episode.
Thank you, Swamp Hag.
Ishka Bibble suggested this episode.
There's no like John Smiths in there, huh?
No, it's all Ishka Bibble and blanks. Lindsay Marie. That's
this is like a nice cross section of our fan base right here. You've got gibberish and nothing.
And Steven Schumacher. That's a normal name.
It's probably Joel Schumacher's son.
It probably is.
My dad's the best director, and I love worst episode ever of the Simpsons podcast.
He would.
Those are my two favorite things
My
in
two
pop
favorite
culture.
things in the world. All right, Jack. So that's it for suggested this episode. And we should pop our champagne, right? Because it's our 100th episode. This is a big deal.
Like I said, I wish this was a bigger deal. I wanted to do a live episode.
It would have been amazing to do a live show.
We're doing this the Friday night
Jack,
after work. We're fucking exhausted.
We got
Nothing works.
episode 150. That'll be a thing. Episode 200. Episode 600 will be a thing.
We're 1/6 of the way.
We're 1/6 of the way there.
I'm glad. Before we drink, I want to talk about this. I want
Okay,
to
let's
try
do
to
it.
sum up the state of the show. Do like a Conan O'Brien used to
The
do a
state's
state of
not
the show.
good.
And we have weird, stupid characters like Conan too.
I don't know what's stupid.
No. So the mission, I don't know. I think your mission might have been what is literally finding the worst episode ever. My main goal going into this, when you pitched the idea to me, was
Yeah.
I want to find out how does the greatest show on television, maybe ever, go from garbage, from that
just
to garbage,
crumble.
Like I'm as a comedy theorist, as a writer, I want to know how does this happen.
Yeah.
And my goal was to watch these episodes and come up with like a unified theory of post-classic Simpsons. Like
Sure.
You're
like Einstein in a lot of ways, Jack.
Well, in a lot of ways, and not just the mustache I just shaved off.
Yeah, and you had that poster of yourself like sticking your tongue out, and all the kids have it in their dorm rooms.
Take a screenshot of this and put it up in your dorms, kids.
I licked the mic.
Oh, cancer.
That's cancer now.
So-
oh boy.
So anyway, I fully expected by now to have a really solid theory, and I don't. And it really makes me I feel like I'm just not good at this. Maybe I'm not a good critic.
Well,
I don't know. We've come up with some good starts. The Doomsday Process.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't do they
don't do a
seem
lot of
to
rewrites,
do
it
rewrites.
seems.
But here's the thing: we can't prove that. We're
We
not
can't
in the
prove
writers'
it.
room.
No.
I get the feeling they don't, and plus, we've said this before: the cast are all millionaires. They're old now. They're in their 60s. Their parents, their grandparents.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have time for 40 table reads like they used to.
Sure.
So they're probably not doing the 40, 50 drafts, the classic episodes. But we can't prove that. So we can't definitively say that's why it's not funny.
Right.
Why else? I wrote some ideas down. Why else do we think?
I mean,
What have we
think
learned?
A lot of it is just it's very inconsistent because we were saying a little bit in the intro that this episode's from season 23. We've done a lot of episodes from season 23 actually, and they're all over the place as far as rankings. Lisa Goes Gaga's from that season, which is really, really low. But The Book Job, which is fairly high, is also from this season, as is Bart Stops to Smell the Roosevelts. That's somewhere in the middle.
I don't think there's a consistently good. This season is good. This season's bad. Like season 12 seems to be okay and stuff like that.
Season 12 seems pretty good.
But it's still got its stinkers. There doesn't seem
Yeah.
to be, well, that actually brings me to my other point.
All right.
I think I brought this up on CBC.
Yeah.
The Great Man Theory.
No, not again.
I've changed the name to the Lightning in a Bottle Theory. I
Okay.
really do think early Simpsons just had if you read the Ortved's oral history of the Simpsons.
Yeah, John Ortved.
Yeah.
My Facebook friend.
Yeah, I would read this book. It's really interesting. It's basically a history of The Simpsons, very detailed. And it really does seem like they just got a dream team of, look, you got Brooks, you got Sam Simon, you got Matt Groening, you got Al Jean, Mike Reese, and I think maybe my favorite, Gus Swartzwelder too.
I was going to say John Swartzwelder.
My
yeah.
favorite, my theory as to who is the Simpsons type of humor.
Yeah. George Meyer?
George Meyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you just don't have that dream team of people again. I'm sure you have some good ringers, but maybe they're just
Right.
not gelling together.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it, and I don't think like Dana Gould was and maybe still is a writer on The Simpsons. He was for many of the post-classic seasons, and I like him in general. I think he's a funny comic.
I saw in the credits for Moe's Rag. I think they're writers and producers on the post-classic late seasons.
Yeah.
Tom Gamble and Ross. Mark Ross.
Yeah, Tom Gamble was on Seinfeld, right?
They were they're
Yeah.
partners, and they wrote a lot of the best Seinfeld, like season 7, season 8 Seinfeld episodes.
Yeah.
These guys are funny, and this is not funny. So it's not the individual talent. It seems to just be they don't have the same team and the same team working together in unison.
That's true, but I also think part of it is now we're in season 28, and the characters have not aged. Nothing has really changed.
That's the other thing.
It's tough to tell new stories.
Well, not just new stories. Comedy is surprise.
Right.
You laugh when when something not expected happens.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anything can say even you have SNL, but that's different because
That's totally
it's a completely
different 'cause
different
it's-
show
yeah.
from what it was in 1975.
Right.
So maybe it's just if you're doing the same type of humor, it's just not as funny anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we've said a number of times they should change things up, and this episode certainly is a change from the norm. But I think it has a lot of problems that are not related to it being a change from the norm. It's just a very poorly written episode, I think.
Two last maybe theories for this unified theory.
All right.
All right, so a lot of people say, "Oh, the show's lost its emotional core." I don't agree with that. I think even though our least worst episode ever is what, Behind the Laughter?
No, our least worst episode is now what's that one? We loved it. God damn it! You look it up. I have the rankings in front of me. It's Trilogy of Error.
Oh, okay.
Bart's Comment is overall probably the
Trilogy
best.
of Error. Yeah. No. My favorite post-classic episode, even though the numbers say something different, my gut, my truthiness favorite episode is the whale one, where Lisa has the beach whale. And that one's not funny.
That was a good episode of television, but it was not the funniest episode.
So I will argue anybody who says the show has lost its emotional core. It's just, like you said, it's inconsistent. Most of them are terrible.
Right.
But when they do it right. I think what's more consistently terrible is the lack of characters and story. The jokes are for joke's sakes. Where even the best stupid gags in the classic Simpsons usually came from either story or from character.
Related to that, do you think the show has just kind of dumbed itself down too? Because I feel like there was much more satire and much more intelligent, not higher brow humor, because there was definitely lowbrow humor still, but maybe it was more of a mix of high and lowbrow, and now they go for a lot of lowest common denominator, easy jokes. Definitely in this episode, there's a bunch of puns.
I want to put a pin on that, because right now I wanted to talk about overall what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
That is something I want to talk about specifically to Moe's Rag, because I 100% agree.
Yeah,
I'm just going to call it Moe's Rag. I've been calling it Moe's Rag.
We'll just call it Moe's Rag. It's fine.
I keep rubbing my shoulder.
You do keep rubbing your shoulder.
I'm in so much pain.
And I'm doing like this, I don't know what arm motion. I'm watching myself from 8 seconds in the past. I'm like I was doing a shadow puppet.
I tore something working out last night. 2 days ago, and then yesterday I played a shit ton of archery in VR, and I fucked something up.
You don't want to fuck with those shoulders, bro.
I'm in so much pain.
We do side lat raises.
I told this. That was one of them.
Yeah,
I told this guy at work. I was like, "Yeah, right here it hurts." He goes, "Oh no."
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with your rotator cuff.
You're done. You're done.
Yeah,
he's like, "You're done. You're just gonna be in pain the rest of your life." Anyway. Hopefully it won't be that long. Hopefully I'll be dead soon.
Well, your life will end at the end of this podcast. So
I have a podcast seppuku. One last minor maybe theory.
Yeah.
Rose-colored glasses, nostalgia. Maybe The Simpsons just never. Maybe we grew up with it, and
it was never that good.
I mean, it was always good, but maybe we're just holding it. Maybe the critics of us are right, and by us I mean any post-classic naysayers.
Sure.
Maybe we're just.
Maybe some people are just
holding
jerks.
We're holding it in too high of a regard.
I mean, I don't really agree with that one, because seasons 3 through 8 are television right there.
There's like 1% of that. There's got to be something. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, it is tough. It is tough for us to be objective, I think you're saying, because this is a show that's baked into who I am.
Right. Exactly. I hate myself, so that's not a problem for me.
Right. Well, you also have like, this pit of horrors that's also baked into you. It's right there in your shoulder.
We'll eventually cover some classic episodes, and we'll see. We'll try to look at them in the same objective light, like same fucking scrutiny we do this, and we'll see.
We may start doing some more classic episodes
sooner than you think.
In the next hundo.
Oh, I was going to bring this up before we started recording. So right before we started recording, I went to go pee. And I heard... And
I'm glad you brought it up.
And I'm guessing this is going to be in the deleted scenes. I don't know what you were doing, but I could tell you were
Damn
talking.
it.
I could tell you were talking into the mic. I'm guessing it was Little Ghost Girl.
I was whispering because I didn't want you to hear it. I wanted you to hear it when you were editing the show.
So I'm sure whatever it is going to be really funny. And when you're doing it, you're talking to this. You're talking to the microphone. So you're talking to somebody, something.
Right.
And the listeners are going to be listening to you. So it's all going to sound normal.
Right.
But I just hear from the bathroom. So I'm in the bathroom, on the other end of the apartment, and I just hear... that's all I hear.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I know what he's doing.
That's exactly why I was whispering, because I didn't really want to be like, Dan's talking to himself again.
But it really does sound like you're just in the other room talking to yourself in the baby voice.
It's not a baby voice. I was at least 12 years old.
All right. Anyway, that story was just to weed out the non-fans.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get rid of those.
We got a lot of hearts with it, though.
There's got to be a pun for that, for interlopers of Paris, like a periscopers?
Paralopers?
Paralopers.
Paralopers.
Yeah. I wanted to feed out
Get
those
out of here, paralopers. I see a lot of the people I would hope would be here are here. So it's good to see you, all of you. You guys are great fans.
That was
we love you.
That was the other thing I wanted to say on air before
Before we dig into this wonderful episode.
100 episodes. We got to thank you guys. We wouldn't be doing this without you. Because it sucks and it's a lot of work.
we would have given up a long time ago.
We would have stopped
without
at
you guys.
maybe 50 probably. And there's not that many of you. There's a decent amount, but we would love more.
We got a lot of downloads, but
it's not like one of those stinker podcast numbers like 90s percentile.
A lot more people listen to this show than 90s percentile.
Which means some of you might not be listening.
We got some good guests coming up.
Definitely the people listening to this right now, there are at least 3/4 of you who are not listening to 90s percentile.
Yes.
Listen to 90s percentile. It's a good show. We got good guests.
It's a great show. I like it more than this show, to be quite honest with you.
Former 90s percentile guest Laura Jane Grace. She was just on Fresh Air with Terry Gross.
That's right.
Bit of a step down.
Bit of a bump.
But listen to our show.
We gave her the old 90p bump.
But yeah, thank you so much. A heartfelt thank you, not just to the ones listening, but I'm sure there's people who would like to be watching us right now but can't. You know who you are. You follow us on Reddit. You follow us on Twitter. Some of you are like me. So
I was just gonna say that there's so many podcasts that I listen to and love, and I don't interact with them at all.
One of my favorite podcasts, You Talking You Two to Me, or even Fresh Air with Terry Gross.
Sure.
I've been listening to Fresh Air for Terry Gross for 10 years, like as of 2 months ago. So over 10 years I've been listening to that podcast. I never once went to their Twitter or I never added Terry Gross.
Right. I mean, I met Scott Aukerman once and forced him to take a picture with me while I was wearing my You Talking You Two to Me shirt.
Right. Which
in retrospect was embarrassing.
So I'm guessing there's a majority of podcast listeners probably like us. They love the show and they're there. They listen to it all the time. They might even look forward to listening. They're just not the type of people who do the social stuff.
If you are listening, send us an email. We would love to know that you're out there.
Right. And if you're not, we appreciate you just as much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With all that said, with the Love Fest,
it's time to celebrate.
It's time to celebrate because we have hit 100 episodes. We had to go to a bi-weekly schedule at one point, but
it sucks.
It sucks, but that's life. We have full-time jobs.
We were going to get beer
because we're
hobby. Doing a nice Friday night, use a few beers.
Yeah.
But then, this is a celebration, 100 episodes.
This is a fancy occasion. You guys are watching. You can see that we are dressed to the nines. Sorry, podcast listeners. You'll have to just visualize our fancy tuxedos.
So... we got some.
We got some
champagne. We
champagne.
Got some bubbly. I really would like to see the fucking camera.
It's a shame that we are 8 seconds behind.
I'm assuming this is in the frame somewhere. Oh, I shouldn't shake it.
All right. We're gonna have champagne showers.
We have a nice bottle of champagne that me and Dan are going to drink the entire thing throughout the episode.
Yes.
To kill the pain of
to dull the pain of
what was
Mo's rag,
plus the VR
and your physical pain.
I've got these nice bubbly glasses. Thank you to
Alden and Jennifer. Who are Alden and Jennifer, Jack?
They're good friends of mine. And
okay. We have their champagne flutes here.
I stole a bunch of their glasses from the wedding.
I believe you're probably supposed to have these, right? These look like wedding favors.
I like to say anything I take, I just say I stole.
I stole it.
I steal oxygen to breathe.
I went to the ATM and I put in my PIN code and I stole some money.
Actually,
from my own account.
Alden's a big Simpsons fan. We actually tried to get him on the show. He just works his ass off.
Oh, he's too much of a big shot, huh?
But they're expecting a baby any day now, any hour now, probably.
Okay.
So congrats to them, to my good friends Jennifer and Alden, and that makes me want to do one last thing before we talk about.
Sure.
Because this is We 100. We got a lot of stuff to get out of. Actually, we have another thing we have to mention too.
But I don't know what that one is. But okay.
We should. But
all right.
Congratulations to very close friend of the show, Bryce Canedo Pullen. He just had a baby last week.
Yes, he did.
Graham Canedo Pullen. So congrats to Bryce and Christine.
Yep.
And that made me think. Basically, we have a lot of guests who have been having babies in the last year. Chris Kieran from 90s Percentile. He just had a kid.
He just had a baby.
Congrats, Chris, to you and your wife. Billy had a baby girl. Congrats to you, Billy. Billy Kammerer from Worst Episode Ever and from 90s. I got to stop waving this glass around. Dave Dorman, co-inventor of the Hippo system. Didn't he have another kid since...
Did he have another kid? I don't know if he has. I haven't talked to him in a few months, but I should reach out to him. If you're listening, Dave, I will reach out to you.
So,
and Kara McElwain also
recent guest,
just told me last night that she is expecting.
Hopefully it wasn't a secret.
It wasn't. I mean, she's telling people, so clearly it's not.
People confide in you. You're a trivia host.
That's true. I'm kind of like a priest in that way.
Yeah. Congrats to Dan Brio.
And Dan Brio's got a baby on the way also.
I just remember Leno in his last episode before he came back.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
He had all his staff come out with all their babies.
Yeah, all the production babies.
I just wanted to give a shout out to all the Wii Studios babies.
Yeah,
clearly listening to our voice and interacting with us just
makes you want to.
It just enhances your sperm. Look, even congrats to Dan Brio. Even our listeners are getting it on and making babies. We are doing a service to the world.
I believe that one of our listeners way back said that he listened to the show with his girlfriend in the bathtub. I may have just made the bathtub part up, but he definitely listened with his girlfriend.
Can we just? All right. I
assume that they have had a baby since.
I also assume that most of our listeners, like the ones that don't do social, I really want to assume that there is a silent majority of people who hate Freet. And
that's not true.
Even though the core people of followers that tweet at us and stuff seem to love him, so I'm going to hold you guys to something. If you have a baby,
name him Freet.
You got to name him Freet Johnson.
We need a Freet. It's Goldberg. You son of.
Who's Freet Johnson?
Freet Johnson was a different character.
I don't remember what his thing was.
I don't remember. But Freet Goldberg is me.
Right. You gotta have a baby.
I'm still looking for love and cryptograms.
So Dan Brio or whoever wants to be crowned the biggest Wii Studios worst episode ever fan.
Yeah.
The requirement is you name your kid Freet. Goldberg.
Freet's a great name. So it rolls off the tongue. It's unique. It's better than soda.
Also, you have to assume that if you name him that, God is going to grant him with the voice of Freet.
That's right.
like a year from now, Mama. That was my baby.
That was good. Baby Freet. That's our new hot character in the second 100 of 90th percentile. No, worst episode ever.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know anymore.
The other one thing before we get to the fucking episode.
Yes. I don't know. What's our big announcement? Yeah. Well, we haven't set it up yet, but we're going to.
We were supposed to, and we were running early.
By the time this episode is out, we are going to have a Patreon at long last. A lot of people have asked us, are you guys going to do a Patreon? When's that happening? We're finally going to do it. So
we say we are.
We say we are. If it's set up, it will be in the show notes of this episode, so check that out. If you don't know what Patreon is, essentially you guys can kick in a couple of bucks to be a Patreon supporter, probably as little as $1 a month. We will give you a nice thanks on the air, and there will be some other tiers of rewards that you'll get. I can almost guarantee that some free sync points would be coming your way.
Yeah, I think for the majority, yes. And I guess we'll just announce this now. We have a sync points that's going to be released. What's today? April 7th?
Today's the 7th, yeah. In
about 15 days. In about 2 weeks, we're going to be releasing a special Earth Day sync points. Should we just say what it is? Give them time to watch it, or what?
Sure.
All right. There's an Earth Day special from 1990. It's on YouTube. It was aired on, I think, all networks. It stars all the biggest TV and movie stars.
It's fantastically strange.
Of the early 1990s. It's so fucking weird. So we'll talk about it more in the coming weeks. But in 2 weeks, we're going to have a sync points for that. It may or may not be free, depending on how we set up Patreon. Patreon should be ready.
We'll figure it out
by the time this audio episode airs.
Yeah,
on Thursday. On the what is it? 13th.
This episode, yes, I think so. And I think we're going to have like a stretch goal on the Patreon. If we have a crazy listener who wants to give us $10 million, we will quit both of our jobs.
We will both quit our jobs, and we will podcast full time, 5 shows a week.
And podcast full time. And no, Amazon.wepodcast.com is not going away. You should go there for all your shopping needs.
If you donate $10 million, not only will we quit our jobs and do full time podcasting and do a bunch of shows, Stephen King podcast, anything we want to do, we will also do a monthly show about you, the donor.
Yes, absolutely. If you give us $10 million,
it's mostly going to be us doing our same shtick, but just talking about whatever we want. But you will come up at some point.
Absolutely.
Every episode.
Yeah, and you can't be on the show, but you can be in the room while we're recording.
Please don't ask to be on the show. Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Sickens us.
All right.
Look, I was actually fighting Dan on the Patreon. I felt weird asking you guys.
That's actually one of the goals. We will fight each other if we make a certain amount of money.
At first I thought it was weird, but then about 2 years ago I agreed to it, and we just got around to it.
Yeah.
Money's tight these days. I get it, but if you can, any little thing you can support to help us cover our bills and to just make this a little bit less intolerable to fucking record.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate it. If you can't do it, we totally understand. I don't Patreon anybody, so whatever.
I do Patreon a few things.
I might start actually. I might start.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna start.
All right.
Let's open this. I don't know how to open a champagne.
I will open the champagne, Jack. It is not cold.
Yeah, it's gonna be piss warm. At least we can get the warm one.
Yeah.
Tell me when it's ready to open, and I'll set you up for it.
Okay. Hey.
Oh wait, I forgot to set you up.
Oh, I don't know. Pop!
I was gonna do a shoehorned in. You
shit.
Son of a bitch. Wait, let's put it back in. Put it back in. Okay. Hey, Dan. I hope you don't do Freet this episode.
I think I might.
I hope it's not shoehorned in. Pop. It was Seinfeld. Piece of the beef.
That was I can't help it if we bought the Seinfeld champagne.
All right, give me some fucking alcohol.
All right, we need it.
We should have got the beer.
It's been a long week for Jack and Dan, but now we're here recording episode 100.
This is delayed. This is more than 8 Mississippis.
I think now we're like at 16 seconds.
Like a
delay.
Mississippi, a Columbia, and
I was going to top you off a little bit there.
Please do.
But Jack, while I'm topping you off with some champagne,
should we do a quick plot recap?
Why don't you hit us up with that little recap?
100th time, although I don't think we did plot recaps in the very beginning, so I don't know.
Nope, but we're doing them now.
It is Corbel. So you can't say the champagne's not Corbel, because it is. If that means anything to anybody.
It doesn't.
No.
All right, let's do this.
I'm done. I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah, you know what? This episode sucks. Give it all zeros. Goodbye.
Yeah, sign us, give us money on Patreon, and good night, everybody.
All right.
Cheers.
Clink to Alden and Jennifer.
To Alden and Jennifer, and to all the Wii Studios babies.
And to all the wee babies.
All right, so this episode, season 23, I call it Mo's Rag.
Mo goes from rag to riches.
Mo goes from rag to riches. Nap title. So this episode starts with a party at
There's
Mo's.
no riches. It's not that apt of a title. There's literally no riches.
The riches is Mo finds love and family. Family
I guess.
Family is the riches. Oops, I'm going to fucking knock this over.
Family is the riches.
Oh, so
Well, that's not interesting.
It starts with a party at Mo's.
Yes, the episode. I forgot what we were doing.
Something with Quimby. I don't know. But anyway, there's a big party.
They were having a town hall meeting
I'm
at
gonna do
Mo's.
it really quick. I'm gonna do this quick.
It doesn't have to be long because this episode has no
This
plot.
was 22 minutes of stack.
Yeah.
So basically, somebody comments that. Everybody comments that they have best friends. Homer has Bart has Milhouse. Carl has Lenny. I forget what it was. But Mo's, he's like, who's your best friend, Mo? And he says his best friend is his bar rag, the thing he uses to wipe up all the shit on. And everybody makes fun of him, and they spill shit on the rag, and they torture the rag for some reason. And they all leave the party, and Mo's really sad. And he goes to bed, and the rag starts talking. It looks exactly like the Sorting Hat from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's voiced by completely wasted Jeremy Irons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's completely wasted because Jeremy Irons could read the phone book and it would sound interesting because he has a great voice. But yeah, I mean, the role sucks. What? Actually, the role isn't even terrible. The concept of this episode is not that bad. It's weird.
I guess I'll finish.
Finish the recap, and
we'll
then
talk
we can
about
get into
its sources. So the rag starts telling a story about its origins. It started in the Dark Ages, in feudal society. The serfs are played by all these historical characters are played by the Simpsons characters, Springfield regulars.
Right.
And Marge in like the 1300s basically makes this tapestry.
Yeah, we'll talk all about how that happens.
Yeah, and it's made from like haunted sheep's blood.
Yeah.
And it becomes this beautiful thing, the beautiful tapestry that ends up in the court of a Persian king where the Arabian Nights start. And it passes throughout time. It ends up in colonial America. And finally it ends up at the top of Mount Everest, where what is Yeti called? Abominable Snowman. I guess Yeti's better.
Yeah.
Finds it, and he gives it to his baby son, who is Mo. Mo is half Yeti.
Mo is half a Yeti who was born on Mount Everest. And people say
the
Armin Tanzarian episode is bad.
Yeah, right. And it's Mo's blankie, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And Mo falls in love with it. He loves his blankie, and he never wants to part. And at the end of the episode, he realizes that he has family. He has the Simpsons, and he throws the rag away because he doesn't need them. And then the rag is like, "Oh, I've lost my best friend." And then Santa's little helper eats it, and he's like, "Oh, this is even better." Everybody loves dogs. And he's like, "This will last forever." Which, spoiler alert, they die pretty quick, and then you're they leave a hole in your heart. Then how old's Baxter?
He's like 13, 14.
He's got a couple of years.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
The little ones last longer. So there's a B-plot where Bart and Milhouse break up, and Bart tries desperately to get back, and eventually Milhouse takes him back by letting Dredrick Tatum punch him.
We'll talk in depth about all of these things.
Source material.
Just very quickly, we should mention this episode is loosely based on The Red Violin, which is a movie from the late 90s about a Stradivarius violin, which was red. So apt title. Stratohuvius. And it's kind of like world tour that it had. It starts, I think, in the 1600s, a lot like this. This episode started earlier, but it goes through the decades, through the centuries, and you kind of see what happens to this violin. As far as I know, I've never seen it. I don't believe the violin narrates its own life story.
I think this reminded me of $20, which
Yeah.
is a movie from the 90s about a $20 bill that gets passed around, and it's a bunch of short stories.
It's an interesting idea. I don't know that the rag needed to talk.
Do you know what it reminded me of? And
Yeah.
I thought about this, and I just
The Sorting Hat. You said it before.
I let it pass by.
Yeah.
There's an Animaniacs episode with a little piece of wrapping paper that starts in a
Yes.
department store and then ends up in a dumpster, and a homeless man finds it and wraps his.
I do remember that.
He finds like a tooth in the garbage or something and gives it to his homeless baby. I don't know what it was.
That was one of those weird Animaniacs shorts that wasn't funny, and it was just like this sweet little thing, right? Like it wasn't really
it wasn't,
high comedy.
They weren't jokes.
Yeah.
It was sad. It was maudlin, but it was actually one of their better pieces.
Yeah, so I just really quick want to talk about the overall in this episode, because what I hated most about this episode is not the lack of jokes, which we'll get to. Certainly that was a problem. But it was just there. Like the idea seemed to be, hey, let's do a bunch of loose Simpsons historical things. Like let's put the Simpsons in feudal France, and then
it felt kind of like one of their
the
tall,
Depression.
tall tale
Exactly.
ones, yeah.
But with much
Bible
less
stories.
structure. It seemed like they wanted to do like one of those vignette episodes.
Yes.
But then just cut it up into these even smaller vignettes
Hey,
that don't really have
let's
beginnings
do a
or
vignette
ends.
episode, but let's not just do 3 short stories. Let's make it match
Like
it
it
up
was
together.
just references for the sake of doing this weird historical episode when you don't have to do the weird historical episode. You're choosing to do that. And there wasn't
I'm fine
even
with that. I'm fine with
it too.
Make it work.
But there was nothing. Okay, so ostensibly this episode starts with Mo doesn't have a friend, but his rag is the friend. Literally nothing in the flashbacks with the rag has anything to do with friendship.
Yeah.
The only thing that has anything to do with friendship is the B plot, which we'll talk about,
Which
and
has
was
nothing to
awful.
do with Mo.
Has nothing to do with Mo.
The only reason Mo likes it is because it was his blankie at the end, but we don't even see if that's almost that is justification enough, but we need to see stuff with that.
Right.
Maybe he had a bad day because the Yeti left him at the playground or something. I don't know.
I mean, that's what's so strange about this episode. It's supposed to be an episode where we're getting the secret life of Mo's rag that Mo loves. We see nothing at all for why Mo loves this rag.
No.
We don't see young Mo with the rag. We don't get any of that.
And if it is your blankie, which is adorable, and baby Mo is adorable,
Yeah.
why are you using it to wipe up?
Hey, Moma,
Like,
why are you not speaking with your accent no more?
Why are you using it to wipe up shit?
But even worse than that is you're trying to connect this to Mo finally, and then at the end it's just a joke where it's a Yeti on Mount Everest gives it to his son, who is apparently Mo.
What is
Which
that?
is it just
What is
raises
that?
so many questions about everything.
This episode came out,
2012.
5 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years.
years ago. Everybody was making such a big deal about the Kang and Kodo stuff. You can't have aliens in a canon episode.
Right.
Mo is half Yeti.
This episode is batshit insane.
Mo is half Yeti. There's a rag that talks.
This is an episode where Mr. Burns kills a bunch of sheep. Their blood immediately pours out, infects the wool with some sort of magic curse.
This is Hellraiser?
That then infects Marge so that she's forced to make a tapestry which tells its own future, and then that has nothing to do with anything ever again.
Yeah.
Both of those things are dropped. There's
No,
nothing about the tapestry showing its own future. There's nothing about the magic sheep blood.
That's batshit crazy enough to work. But like you said, how is something so out there?
Why are these
so
things
boring?
happening?
No, there's no reason.
There's nothing ties this episode together.
Nothing ties it together. There's
Yeah.
no jokes that would make us laugh. It was
The
literally
jokes is a
staring
separate
at static.
issue.
It was
The
such
jokes-
a waste of time.
Right. Things were just happening for no reason. Like this was, and then this happens, and then this happens, without any connective tissue to make an actual story. And that is why I hated this episode so much. Now, on top of that, the episode is not funny at all. I think I laughed 2 times.
I laugh a lot at these post-classic episodes. Not a lot, not compared to the old episodes.
Yeah.
I will laugh out. I get chuckles out of little stupid things. That doesn't mean I actually find them funny. Like it's kind of like just a guttural.
Yeah.
There was one big laugh. I think I have it written down.
So I wrote down. I write LOL when I actually have a good laugh.
I'm listening.
And I wrote it down twice. Once was in the beginning of the French flashback when the kids say their stomachs are rumbling, and then Marge says, "Oh, it's just people speaking French." And outside they were like, "Oh,
That was probably my
that
favorite
was funny."
joke. Yeah.
And then the other one wasn't even that good, but it was when Chief Wiggum is trapped in the trunk and he thinks he has a can of Pringles, and he opens it up and it's tear gas. I laughed at that mostly just because of the acting
thought that was pretty
from
funny
Hank
too,
Azaria. Those are the only times I laughed, and other than that, like there was nothing funny in this episode. Like there were a lot of bad puns and like really, really layup-y type humor. Like when they're on Mount Everest, for no reason at all, comic book guy flies by and says, "Worst Everest ever." Or no, worst... What was it? Worst climb to Everest ever? It was so bad.
Worst Everest ever. You're on Everest. I can see you having to. You have to make that pun. You can't just.
You don't have to.
You have to make it. You have to say it because when are you ever going to have this other opportunity? But there's got to be a way to make it better.
The gag's not that great. Just because Everest starts with ever doesn't mean you have to tie it together.
You got to bring it up.
I
got to bring it up.
I don't
it's
agree.
It's like the Talk song. Got to bring it up.
All right. If
bring it up.
If Talk says you have to bring it up, then you have to bring it up.
Talk's one of my all-time favorite bands.
Can we talk about the opening of this episode
talk
too?
About the
Can
opening?
we talk about this opening?
Can we talk about the opening?
This episode 100% came in short, and they were like, okay, let's just add a musical number at the beginning of the episode where the entire town of Springfield danced to Lionel Richie in Moe's bar, and for some reason Lionel Richie is there. What the fuck was that? I don't know what that was supposed to be.
Now, you say they must have been running short, so they put filler in. Clearly, you're somebody who's listened to the classic DVD commentaries of, and they always talk about how they would
they'd stretch out the couch gag,
and they find these filler scenes.
That Flanders cartoon at the end of one episode.
I'm not convinced that's the case here. I think that maybe this room full of schmucks was just like, hey, you know what would be funny? A 3-minute dance scene. I'm not convinced that it was a filler. I think that they think that's substance.
Well, you know what this room of schmucks thinks? It wasn't. It was bad.
Mic drop, but we're not going to drop it because everything's
because they're expensive mics and everything. The floor is hot lava here at Wii Studios.
Please give us money on Patreon.
So Mayor Quimby is giving a speech. Instead of town hall, they decided to have town hall at Moe's for whatever reason. I don't know if they said it.
This dance party breaks out. Basically, the mayor leaves, and they go, let's have a dance party, and they play some music. And like you said, it's drawn out.
Well, it's because they say, why does town hall have bed bugs? Why is there a bed? And then it's Miss Springfield is there, and she's like, oh, and they like giggle because they've been fucking in the bed in town hall. And then awkwardly...
So the bed bugs came from her cooch?
I don't know, maybe. But then Quimby, to like redirect, just hits the jukebox and it starts playing All Night Long by Lionel Richie. And then they just dance. The entire town, like it cuts to Bart and Milhouse, like dancing together.
Now, Shrek-Tune here commenting actually makes a decent point. The dance party does highlight, it does serve a story purpose. It highlights that everybody has somebody to hang out with, somebody to dance with. Because we do see most people pair up, except Moe, who's kind of stuck. There's literally a physical barrier between him and the rest of the town.
Jack.
I.e. the bar. Great point, Shrek-Tune. It actually... So it does serve a story. I just wish then if they're going to show it for 90 seconds, it makes me laugh. Homer climbs up a wall. He's upside down. This episode's defying the law of physics within a minute.
I forgot about that. You're right.
He's upside down. None of the gags made me laugh. They cut to the one that sticks out is I've been thinking it for 2 hours. What is the name of Marge's mother?
Jackie.
Jacqueline. Yeah. So Jacqueline Bouvier is dancing with. Thank God she's still alive. I think there was some question as to whether canon-wise she had died. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So she's dancing with Patty and Selma, and they're doing this whole fucking thing. And I guess now that you say it, it makes sense. Yeah, that's who she teams up with. Patty and Selma. But it's so out of character because.
When Patty and Selma are not known for their dancing.
Like, think of Bart versus Thanksgiving. Like Jacqueline was the family grandma. She's old. She's cranky. She's too old to like give a shit and try to pretend to be nice. She's just saying what's on her mind.
She's the opposite of Marge.
And she sits there in the chair and she criticizes. That's what grandmas do.
Yeah.
They don't fucking do this fucking dancing thing because they don't have the energy. They'll break a hip. They'll
hurt
their fucking rotator cuff.
Yeah.
And they'll be in horrible pain. So first of all, you're breaking. This is what we're talking about with the. What's the difference between classic and post-classic? Yeah. This is a joke for joke's sake. It has nothing to do. You're breaking character to make this joke.
This is who can we have? It would be funny to see dance. An old lady.
Right. Yeah, and that's my second point. Is that a joke? Because all right, fine. Shrek-Tune is right. This dancing did actually serve a story point, but
a shitty story. I don't think it did.
There was nothing worth it. There was nothing. It was not enjoyable to watch. There was nothing funny going on.
If you are trying to establish everyone in town has friends, there's much better ways to do it than Lionel Richie's All Night Long.
Do the writers expect me, and I'm going to get to this later on too, do the writers expect me to go watch this, and then Lionel Richie shows up while they're playing a Lionel Richie song?
Right.
Am I supposed to go, hey, that's the guy that's singing right
That's
now.
the guy who sings the
And
song.
then provoke some kind of guttural laugh from that. Like, that's not going to make me laugh. I get that that's funny that's there.
It's funny in the sense, like, why would Lionel Richie be in this random bar that's playing a song? But that's not a joke.
I guess I'll bring this up.
It's reference humor.
I guess I'll bring this up now. I wanted to bring it up in the Nelson Arabian Nights thing because
Okay,
that's where it was
we'll
most
get
prevalent.
there.
But like you were saying before, the jokes aren't funny. They're just so what these feel like to me, and they get them right. Is you're writing a script. If you took a Simpsons script and you took out any time there was a funny, 3 jokes a page. Every time there's a funny gag or joke, if you take it and you just redact it like CIA style, you highlight it with a black highlighter and you take it out. That's where the joke should be. And I feel like a lot of these episodes have all those beats in the right places.
There's spots that there should be jokes.
That should be a joke. And they put a joke there. They put a moke there.
Right.
But it's not funny. It's just this weird, like, hey, Lionel Richie's there. He shouldn't be there. But that's not going to elicit a laugh from me. And I feel like this episode's full of, and a lot of post-classic episodes are full of moments like the beats are there. The jokes are there.
Right.
But they're barely jokes.
All right. So that was the dancing thing.
There's a joke here that ties into this whole friendship thing that I actually laughed at. This was one of the 3 or 4 jokes I really liked.
Okay.
Even though it's weird for me as a concept that Mo is on Facebook and has Facebook friends. Again, I'm not trying to mire myself in classic era Simpsons. Sure, the Simpsons have Facebook.
Okay.
Mo says I got friends. I just Facebook friended Pepto-Bismol.
Right.
That's a funny idea to me because these stupid corporate things.
There's corporate pages and accounts that are
and
like
they have,
profiles.
and I love the idea that if Mo would friend one and consider that the same level Facebook friend as like an actual friend. To me, that's a smart, funny joke.
It is. Maybe they could have done more with it. I mean, it's more clever than funny. Maybe
I saw it fading away. I caught it in the corner of my eye. If somebody made a comment, at least they never made a joke about Mo's rag being used to wipe up masturbation.
Yeah, that's a good call. I would not have liked to see
extra
that.
point in the Hippo scale for that. I guess.
Hey, he's always there for me when I'm alone and feeling lonely.
I hate to just leave it on my hand for the rest of the night while I'm cooking pork chops. That rag comes through.
That was too specific. It makes me think that happened to you at some point.
I don't cook pork chops.
I like that that's the part that you discredit. I don't cook pork chops.
Too much work.
Oh, boy. I'm not shaking your hand, Jack.
Why? It's just covered in semen. Ow.
That's what you get for taunting with your semen hands.
With my semen shoulder.
This is usually the part where you say you're sorry. Bert, I'm not your puppet. I know. I made you into a real boy last week. And I'll always be grateful. But it's time you started treating me with respect.
Let's get into this Bart Milhouse thing, because at the end of the whole friendship dance thing, there's a moment where everyone's ragging on Mo. No pun intended, but I guess partial pun intended.
Ragging on is a perfect word for it.
Yeah. Then Bart says, even I have Milhouse. And Milhouse is like, oh, I'm getting tired of this.
Out of nowhere.
And he's just like, that's what friendship is. I dish it out and you take it. And then Milhouse is like, fuck you, Bart. You got to respect me. Fuck this shit. Fuck you. He doesn't actually say all that, but
that's
the tenor of it.
This is a show that's like completely status quo, self-contained every week. And this is building on 23 seasons of Milhouse taking shit from Bart. Out of nowhere. No.
Literally, there's no provocation for Milhouse to be like, that's it. We're not friends anymore.
If this was a serialized show, if this was
Lost.
Yeah. And last episode, Milhouse was like, really just couldn't take it anymore. Fine. You can have a cold opening like this. But no, this is a self-contained sitcom. Can we have one scene where Milhouse is sick of his shit?
All we need is Bart to physically
10 times before.
Physically humiliate Milhouse. Just anything. Just something that isn't just,
he's dancing.
Hey,
he jumps into the middle of the dance floor.
He pulls Milhouse's pants down.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone sees he's wearing like little girl underwear or something. I don't know.
They see he grew his first blue pube.
Oh, God. No one wants to see that. Although if you look at Playboy when Marge was in it.
Did she have blue
No, it was just boobs.
Oh.
It was so... What a sad moment in The Simpsons history when Marge was in Playboy.
If you're going to go all out and put Marge in Playboy... Ugh, just the thought of it really fucking turns my stomach.
It's bad.
If you're going to put cartoon porn in a mainstream adult magazine,
at
least go all the way and show some blue fur. And have the article say... The carpet doesn't match the curtains because there's no corn on the cob down there.
Oh, God.
Is that too obscure?
What a multi-level Simpson fan joke. There's no corn on the cob down there. I love it. Do you want to bang out the whole Bart?
Should that be the name of the episode? There's no corn on the cob down there.
Oh, God. You want to bang out the whole
Let's get the B-plot
Milhouse
out. Let's
Bart
get the
thing
B-plot
out.
out.
So yeah, Bart and Milhouse break up for all intents and purposes. And then enough. I mean, look, they do go a little heavy on the like rom-com tropes of Bart throwing rocks at Milhouse's window like it's Say Anything or something. And
they literally call it a divorce at some point, I think.
Yeah, and none of this really worked for me because A, the justification for Milhouse doesn't exist. But then why is Bart so obsessed with getting Milhouse back?
They are just going through these.
They're going
going
through the motions of what this story should have.
With zero
like,
justification.
They break up. Yeah. He wants to get back together. He wants to do something to
Why
get him back.
Why is Bart's life less without a Milhouse? And it's weird to be asking these questions because I'm fairly sure we've seen 4 or 5 episodes with this exact same plot.
Probably not better than season 3.
Samantha Stanky.
No. Actually, no, not even that one. I'm thinking of the one where Milhouse's mom doesn't let him play with Bart anymore.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he doesn't get invited to his birthday party. I can't remember which episode it is.
Milhouse to Bart. I'm sorry.
Don't hate me.
Yeah, exactly.
Great moment.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Instead of
Instead of this, it's just like, fuck you, eat my shit, I'm fucking Milhouse.
I really think...
What a dick.
Yeah, Don't Hate Me was much more emotional than
much more.
Fuck you, eat my shit.
Fuck you, eat my shit, I'm Milhouse.
Fuck you, this my shit. All the girls. Like, right? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Milhouse's hit single. Fuck you, eat my shit. Because I ain't no Milhouse back, girl.
Stupid. Why are you listening?
Why are you
watching
listening to this?
It's Friday night. Go out, socialize.
Oh, someone on the Periscope said it's the B plot to Homer defined. Yes, which is also season 3. But yeah, I mean, there's been really great Milhouse Bart episodes. I'm not saying that this has to be the greatest Milhouse Bart breakup story ever. All I'm saying is give me something. Why is Milhouse so upset now? Why does Bart want him back now?
There's none of that.
None of that there. It's just, we're friends. You all know we're friends because this is season 23, and this is what we should be doing.
Yeah, I almost don't want to spend time on this because this B-plot shouldn't be in the episode at all.
Yeah, well, okay.
Because not only is it a B-plot, it's a B-plot to an A-plot that's taking place in a completely other
in the past.
This isn't Lost.
Yeah, right. There's flashbacks.
It's really jarring to have a very, very traditional B-plot in this very non-traditional episode.
Agree, completely.
There should be a B-plot. You could do a B-plot. You don't have to. We've seen plenty of great episodes that was just A-plot, especially from this era.
2 notes. One, if you're going to do a B-plot, maybe put Mo in it.
2 options for B-plot. Either it's about Mo in present day, and what it should be is
why
about
Mo is sad. Why the rag makes Mo's life better.
Exactly. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason you're not doing that, then the B plot should also take place in the historical time.
Sure.
Maybe there's another rag, or maybe Marge's character is immortal and we follow her. There's either got to be something parallel to that rag storyline, or I think the better option, like you're saying, Mo. We should be following Mo.
This is
a story
This
about
is a Mo episode.
It's actually called Mo's Rags to Riches.
Yeah.
And I kept calling it in my head Mo's Rag. I thought it was about Mo's Rag. It is about Mo's Rag.
It is about Mo's
Rag. But the title
rag.
is about Mo and the
Mo going from rags to riches. There's no riches.
Well, no, there is. The arc of the episode is Mo going from no friends to realizing he's had friends all along.
Right.
But if the episode is about Mo's arc, then Mo should be in the episode and not just in one scene in the middle and in the beginning and the end.
I completely agree. The other thing I wanted to point out about
was terrible.
The Bart Milhouse thing, for whatever reason, it opens each of the acts. So when we come back from break, we start with the Bart Milhouse scene. And I don't know why that... I guess because then the continuity of the flashbacks has to be maintained.
Okay.
I have no idea.
That's a great observation. That's a weird choice.
It was a very odd choice. And also, the scene where Bart is throwing rocks at Milhouse's window, there's a point where Milhouse takes the rock and then puts it in the rock collection and writes the name of the rock. I don't know if there was a joke there, but it was a weird 30 to 40 seconds that was just nothing.
All right, I guess I'll bring this up then.
Bring it up.
So this episode had 3 or 4, including that, instances of... I don't know if we have a name for this yet.
Yeah.
It's not an extra beat, because there's only one beat, but the beat goes on too long.
It's a rotten beat. It's an extra long beat.
It got rotten on the vine. Overripe.
Do beets grow on rotten vines? I don't know how beets grow. The beets are a tuber.
I see. You meant like a rotten beet.
Yeah.
Like the vegetable beet. I didn't make that connection.
I meant like the vegetable, the beet. Like the band from Doug, the Beats.
It just went on too long.
It just went on too long.
I don't know rotten. I don't know if rotten works.
It was a bad beat.
Bad beat.
Bad beat.
It's a bad beat.
And now we got bad
but
beats.
It's not bad. It just went on too long. There's an act break where it just lingers on Mo for a while. There's another thing.
Yes.
I think it was a Peanuts Linus reference?
I think it was supposed to be a Linus thing because Linus from the Peanuts, he has his blanket, and the music that they played with Mo when he was kind of snuggling up with his rag was a very jazzy. What's his name? Vince Guaraldi, I think is the guy's name, who did the famous jazz music for Peanuts.
I think that might have been a Mo's thing. But anyway, they just linger on it.
They do. There's a lot of weird lingering in this episode, but that's really it for the Bart Milhouse thing.
So it wraps with a really terrible.
Oh yeah, of course we got to talk about this.
So Bart writes a letter. He's like, "Hey, I wrote you this really heartfelt letter," but Milhouse like, "Lisa wrote it," and Lisa's like, "I sure did." This was really static is the perfect word for it. I'm just like watching it, no emotion, just nothing. Just lots of eye rolls all around. Anyway, finally he goes, "Well, I'll let you hit me," and Miller's like, "Okay, but
would you let someone else hit you?"
Yeah. And Bart's like, "I guess," and he somehow picks Dredrick Tatum. No
immediately, Dredrick Tatum pulls up in a limo, gets out, and then it fades out, so we don't actually see Dredrick Tatum punch Bart. I think because they don't want to show a child being punched by a fully grown man who's a boxer. And then it's just Bart rubbing his shoulder, much like you are, and then that's it.
Yeah, no, this was terrible, and this is like where a joke should be. It's like, all right, some kind of funny way for Bart to get punched or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then how does Milhouse know this boxer?
Right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Like so many things in this episode, it's there because it's there,
and then that's it.
There's no reason.
Milhouse goes, all right, that punch should do it. We're friends now, and the rest of the episode they're friends.
Yep.
What is that?
End of storyline.
That is
terrible.
You're starting to convince me. That might be one of the late. I'm trying to think back. It's been 100 episodes. They all blur together. And I've never listened to I've re-listened to one.
This episode may be straight zeros. We'll see.
I can't think of. I feel like we've had this conversation before. I can't think of a lazier ending to an episode than lazier throughout. That plot was just lazy.
Yeah,
that makes that fucking doorbell.
The Senor, not even Senor Ding.
That makes the Vincent Price egg thing look like fucking
Hello, Jody.
Casablanca.
All right, let's steer this train back in the right direction. Mo's rag starts telling the story of his life.
My shoulders started hurting again.
Goes back to feudal France.
There is a French gag I like, though. So the kids they're very poor. It's the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
It's Marge, it's Bart, it's Lisa. They're all French. I don't know if they have French accents, but they're doing all French puns all over the place.
They did have French accents, and it was unbearable.
Yeah. And Lisa says, "Oh, my stomach. What's French?
J'ai mal au stomach.
Yeah.
I have a stomach ache."
And then she's like, "It's groaning," and you hear it groaning, and it sounds like,
right.
And Marge goes, "That's not your stomach. Those are two Frenchmen speaking French," which would be weird.
Which is not what you would say.
French.
That's two men speaking.
But they cut to outside, and there's two French guys talking like in French, and the sounds worked. I laughed at that. Just
that was
bonjour.
Like I said before, that was one of my laugh out louds.
That was funny.
That was one of my lulls.
What did you think of the Flanders line?
I was just going to say that's another, it's right there, but did you have to go for a joke?
I think you have to go for it.
I don't think you have to.
When are you going to ever be able to reference the region of Flanders again
you don't
in The Simpsons?
have to. It's what's the joke other than, Homer knows a man whose name is Flanders and doesn't like him, and now he's in the region Flanders.
That is the joke. Here's the thing. We said this earlier.
Yeah.
Comedy is surprise. So what you have to do is you have to seed it in a way where it takes you by surprise and go, "Oh, that's so obvious. That's hilarious."
Okay.
Whereas they don't do that. They telegraph it from a mile away.
I think that's a very fair comment, and if it had been a little bit more surprising, I probably would have liked it.
Homer goes, "I have to go to Flanders. Stupid Flanders." Insert joke. How about those clowns in Congress? That's
what it basically was.
I do think you should make the Flanders joke. It's there. That's a funny joke to make. But it has to take me by surprise. If I'm fully expecting a Flanders joke, and if you're not fully expecting a Flanders joke because it was so telegraphed, you're somebody who forgot your history, which is fine. And Flanders is not a big part of big. It's not fucking.
It's
Normandy.
not Paris, right?
Exactly. So then that person's not even gonna get the joke. They're gonna be like, "What?
Flanders, I don't get it." That's
Flanders?
true. It would go totally over their head. They wouldn't even realize the reference that the joke was.
Exactly.
It's not one of those situations where in the classic episodes where they would make a reference to some semi-obscure historical thing.
You get, exactly.
You roll with it because you get, that is a real thing. I don't need to know what it was to appreciate the reference. I did laugh at this too. So we get Burns comes in and he's supposed to be like the feudal lord, I guess. And he wants Marge to knit him a tapestry of his deeds, and he shows a bunch of etchings, I guess, of his life. And there was one, here's me hanging out with friends, and it was him hanging out with demons, which I thought that was kind of funny.
It was like the classic medieval...
Right, the medieval art style.
Dancing skeleton
yeah.
thing, yeah. I thought this was smart. So you made a joke in the beginning. Duff Man makes some stupid joke about, try this new Spanish stuff from Mexico.
Right, it was Sangre de la Muerte, which means it means blood of the dead.
And then Moe's rag... I guess is brought to life by the blood of these dead sheep that burn slaughters for no reason.
I guess.
Is that foreshadowing? We like foreshadowing, right?
I guess, but it's never tied into anything. So this weird thing happens where Burns kills all these sheep and the blood is baked into the rag. I guess that's what makes the rag talk.
That just made me think of periods. You said blood baked into rags. Where's my mind going to go?
Periods, apparently. But there was, is that just justification for, that's why this rag is talking? Because, look, it's season 23. You've done a bunch of weird shit already. We don't really need a justification for why the rag's talking if the episode is good, which it's not.
But aren't good things that the writers did right? Shouldn't we reward them for that, even if they're like kind of an island that's not connected to anything else? That's good. Oh,
yes, you're.
You know how bad
correct.
This shoulder is for an Italian American who uses hand gestures for 90% of his communication.
I'm watching myself on the 8 or 10 second delay, and I'm noticing that I do a lot of hand gestures.
We're from Staten Island.
I know. I guess we're expressive people.
It's what you do.
It's what you do. So anyway, Marge makes this quilt. Or this tapestry that eventually becomes the rag. I mentioned before it has its own future on it, which they do nothing with that except a joke where Homer eats the rag.
I thought that was going somewhere where it was prophetic. It can tell the future. That's a good storytelling device.
That's something. It's not nothing, which is the rest of the episode.
That's all we want is something. That's all we're asking for.
I just want to watch something instead of just the static that I watched for 22 minutes.
We're telling these people watching nothing for 2 hours.
Yeah. But anyway, Marge goes into this fugue state where she's just furiously knitting, and she gets old. But then the kids are still there.
So did you mention the eyes going red from the blood?
I didn't, but that happens.
She becomes possessed by the blood, but then that never happens again.
It never happens again. It's not a thing that is talked about ever again in the episode.
They're not setting anything up. It's just
there's no setup. It's just a thing that happens.
It's like writers are just putting. Oh God, this is like a fucking first draft. This is Doomsday all over again.
It's just a bunch of things happen.
This is a DCEU Doomsday, where it's literally one iteration of Doomsday, and it sucks.
This is your Doomsday, Superman.
Also,
drink my pee-pee, Holly Hunter. I'm Lex Luthor. No joke. He's the best part of that movie.
No, he's terrible.
Yes, he absolutely is.
He's so
because
bad.
He's the only fun part of that movie.
He's not.
Jesse Eisenberg is terrific.
It's not one of those cases where somebody knows
Kryptonite. That's Kevin Spacey, but still.
It's not. See, Kevin Spacey knows he's in a campy movie and he's camping it up. Eisenberg, who I like as an actor,
I love
is just
Jesse
bad
Eisenberg
in that movie. He's not doing.
I completely disagree.
That's not intentional. He's doing a bad job.
Jesse Eisenberg strikes me as a guy who's kind of like us. He's a smart guy. He's handsome. He's wonderful. He's terrific.
I met him. I interviewed him on my podcast before this.
Yes, I remember that you did. But he seems like he kind of gets it, and he realizes he's in this big blockbuster movie that's all bleak and dark and dour. Have some fun with it.
But I feel like he's not having fun with it.
The red capes are coming.
See, I like that.
The red capes are coming.
I don't know. Maybe he was doing a good job and he just didn't fit. I don't know. I really did not like him at all. I thought it was a terrible Lex Luthor.
Really? I mean, as far
as
I
hate that movie. I said previously in this podcast I like Man of Steel. I don't want anybody to get the impression that I like Batman vs Superman. That movie is terrible.
Who was the best Lex Luthor ever? Real quick. Then we'll go back to this.
Well, Clancy Brown.
That's exactly the right answer, Jack.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown was fucking great.
Yeah.
He was the voice of Lex Luthor on Superman the Animated Series and Justice League.
Gene Hackman was great too, though. Otisburg. Anyway, let's get back on track.
So I think we're done with the feudal France. Actually, it cuts to later on.
It cuts to the rag talking, and he goes, and that's my story. And then it cuts to a sponge, and it's Hank Azaria goes, yeah, and I was the Gutenberg Bible. I like that joke a lot. I don't know why it didn't work for me.
I agree.
On paper, it works. Hank Azaria works. Everything works. I don't know why I didn't laugh.
Maybe it's just because,
Actually, I think I did laugh, but
talking rag is one thing. We can, kind of accept that. But then it's, also talking sponges and underwear and all the other shit that happens in this episode.
I think I liked it because of Hank Azaria's delivery of, and I was the Gutenberg Bible. I guess everything else was stupid.
I don't know. I didn't love it. But then we go back to Marge in feudal France, and a bunch of time has passed because she's aged.
Decades have passed.
Homer has lost both of his eyes, all of his limbs, I think. He has an apple for an eye and an umbrella for an arm. It's kind of funny, but
visually,
it's funny adjacent. It's not directly funny, but I see what they were trying to go for.
It's in the humor regions.
You know what else was in the humor regions? There's a moment where I think Ralph Wiggum hits Chief Wiggum in the balls or something, and he says, "We got to submit this to America's or France's funniest cave paintings." And that's a funny idea because obviously there's no video. But then you see Wiggum go over and draw it on a cave.
The camera follows him. He walks over to the cave, and he literally paints it on the cave. The famous Neanderthal cave paintings are in France.
Yeah.
This is a classic extra beat. What was that? Do we have an extra beat alarm?
I don't remember. If we did, I don't remember what it was.
We got beats.
Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom.
Yeah.
The beat. The beat. Too much.
Something like that.
I think it was that.
Anyway, this is an extra beat because this is silly to say. Tell, don't show. The off-screen idea of France's funniest cave paintings is much funnier than seeing it in action.
That's not a bad gag, but then seeing Wiggum actually drawing it on a cave was just ugh. Terrible.
So, the second journey, somehow, there's no transitions. We never really find out how the rag moves throughout time.
Well, we do for some of them.
For some of it. How do we...
Mr. Burns takes the tapestry, and then it gets
the Crusades?
sacked, and I think the monks take it, and then they trade it to the Persians.
Gay monks. The gunks.
The gunks. I don't like that at all. I hated the gay monk thing.
The Home Monk Central?
The tapestry goes to a monastery, and one of them gets hit and yells out, and the other one just goes, "You broke your vow of silence."
Yeah. It's funny because they're gay and they have gay accents. That's
hated
comedy.
it. It was so bad.
Comedy 101. Where Emmy, please.
I didn't even like doing that voice just now.
No, it's really stupid.
Yeah, no, it was awful, and that's all I have to say about it.
So now they cut to the Middle East, to Persia.
Then we get to Persia,
Nelson is some kind of king.
I was concerned they were going to do brownface because when they're trading, the monks are trading to the Persians. They're all the proper...
There's Apu in this episode?
Apu is not in this episode at all.
Huh.
Would have been maybe a good idea to get Apu in there somewhere. Maybe he could have been the Sultan or whatever it was.
Do it in Persia. Do it in ancient India. I don't know. Make him the Buddha. I don't know.
Whatever. I mean, you could have done literally anything. It's a crazy make-em-up.
Whatever. So Nelson's the king. Janie is his 8-year-old wife.
Yeah, and you had a great comment when we were watching the episode. You said, didn't need to see an 8-year-old belly dancer.
Make it Princess Jasmine. And make Nelson an adult.
Well, I mean...
Make Nelson Barney or something. I don't know.
The question is, why is it the kids? But I guess it's because you got to make some Lisa time in this episode.
This is a better frame. We should have done this from the get-go.
Well, we didn't, and it's too late. All right, we'll start over. Hey, everybody, welcome to Worst Episode Ever. You got to get Lisa in there, I guess, somehow. So they're like, let's make it Nelson and Lisa. And then they do a Sherazade 1001 Arabian Nights type thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. There's no jokes really to it.
This is where I wrote down my note. We talked about this earlier, so I just want to gloss over. I'm not going to go into detail. Yeah. But this is where it was the redacted put joke here.
Yes.
And so they show time lapsing, basically the 1001 Nights. She's stalling Nelson with these stories.
Right. Nelson grows a beard.
You see a time lapse of the sun rises, the sun sets, sun rises, sun sets. Wow, this is a much better frame. We can see the whole TV. And this camel drops dead. It grows 3 humps.
Yeah, it grows 3 humps over the course of time. I thought that was funny.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. What's funny? I'm watching it just drop dead. Am I at home sitting on the couch with my family and I go, the camel fell. The camel's dead. That's funny. It took so long.
That's a fair point.
What's the joke there?
I think the joke was just the camel grows 1 hump because first it had no humps, then it's a hump, and then it's a second hump, then it's a third hump,
Humpty Hump,
and then it dies. I guess you're supposed to think it's
acknowledge my Humpty Hump.
The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump.
Humpty Hump.
Give me the turn in. That is a song I listen to on the reg.
I can tell.
That is on my playlist on my phone. But anyway. It was fine. It was whatever. I guess I thought it was like tumors, and all of the humps eventually killed the camel.
You thought that was the joke?
Not that. I mean,
It had
not
some
like
kind
literally.
of advanced cancer.
Not literally
Some
like
kind of super cancer. Some kind of super camel cancer caused by smoking camel cigarettes.
super camel cancer caused by smoking camel cigarettes.
Is that on your reg?
Yeah,
on your playlist?
that's also in my playlist. I mean, whatever. It sucked. It was fine. I don't care. Then somehow it gets to Italy, and I don't think that was ever explained. I think this is when it like completely breaks down. There's no continuity between
the breakdown.
Boy,
You can find the reason that.
no one else is living.
Is that tantric?
It's tantric breakdown.
Good guitar riff at the beginning there.
Bow, 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 bow. We are just
I know the breakdown.
fucking losing
Man,
our
we listened
minds.
to some shitty music on our Winamp.
Yeah, we did. Everything is gonna shake down someday.
You can find the reason that. Basically, the camel drops dead. Yeah, this is when I realized, basically, I compared it to, I wrote this down in my notes. It was like watching a TV Land show, like that fucking Eugene.
Hot in Cleveland.
What's that SCTV guy from
Eugene
Armed and
Levy?
Dangerous? Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
He's in that show, Meet the
Schmitz Creek.
Yeah.
That's on Pop Network.
Oh, okay. So like you got that, or you got even like 2.5 Men. These fucking sitcoms where it's just.
I haven't watched Schitt's Creek. Is it? I thought it was supposed to be good.
I hear it's terrible.
Oh, really? I thought I heard good things.
I know. I heard from
All
a previous guest the show that it was terrible. But
All right.
you watch these sitcoms and they're just like, these are where the jokes are supposed to be, and I understand that what I'm watching is supposed to be a joke, but it's not making me laugh. And yeah. The camel dropping dead.
It was just whatever.
Or the other one was
Jack.
The other one was Lisa's rescuing the wives from the pit. They're all in a pit.
Yeah.
And this one character we don't really see very often, if at all. She goes, "I thought it was cooler in the pit," and
Yeah,
she
that
climbs
was
back
annoying.
down the pit. What is that?
Yeah, I have no idea. It was nothing. It was nothing to me, and I hated it. I don't have many more notes, to be honest with you. The rag literally goes from Italy to the United States to colonial
We
times.
never see how.
With no explanation. It's just, then I was used in a flag, and it was the rebel flag or some
I'm wondering
shit.
if somehow the version we watched had a syndication cut and we missed something. I doubt
I
it.
doubt
but
it.
If we're off, please let us know now or in the Reddit.
Yeah. But it was nothing. Like the rag was in the Confederate flag or something. It was stupid. It didn't do anything. Then suddenly it's the Depression. We've jumped forward like 200 years all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, that was the biggest jump. So now we see Homer. So here's the other problem I had. You're jumping through all these historical time periods, which I guess they do in the Bible stories and the Tall Tales, where the Simpsons
that's different
characters
because they're
are
discrete stories.
They are, and the Simpsons characters are playing different characters in each one of these time periods. But because they're not discrete stories, I was really confused. I thought so. There's weird in the Confederate scene. There's this weird hillbilly scene. Homer cuts off his bunion and puts it in the soup.
That was the Depression scene.
Oh,
Homer
yeah.
says the soup needs flavor, so he cuts off a bunion and puts it in the soup.
So it is. Is that the same Homer that climbs Everest?
I don't know. I don't think so, because then Moe would be like 80 years old.
Yeah, you're right.
Or 100 years old. Jesus.
Well, no, the Yeti could have found the rag decades later. Did that sound as logical as possible?
It did, but
Dad,
that's
Dad,
sad.
The Yeti.
Clearly Moe's father, the Yeti on Everest.
I want to go back in time. Okay, all right.
This is what I'm talking about. Change the Wikipedia page
Guys.
for this episode to say Moe's father, the Yeti on Everest, finds a rag.
If you guys go on Patreon and give us $10 million, we will quit our jobs and do full-time podcasting. If you
Yes.
guys go on Patreon and give us $50 million, we will get Elon Musk. We'll get a team of scientists. We will invent a time machine. I want to go back to 1989, and I want to show James L. Brooks, the late Sam Simon,
Yeah.
Matt Groening. I want to show them.
This is what you have
I
wrought.
want to show them. So, like the what's the first step? The Christmas special.
Yeah.
I go, see
Simpsons
this
roasting an
character
open
you
fire.
had? You know that young guy, Hank Azaria, you got doing some of the side characters?
Yeah.
See this character, Moe, with the black hair, who's, why you so down, Homer? With the fever playing in the background. I want to
Yep.
go, did you know his father's a Yeti? and then
canon.
I'm going to destroy the time machine before I can stop 9/11 or anything.
Yeah, well, at least you got the important stuff out of the way. We know Moe's father is the Yeti. Oh, God.
So...
And then at the Everest thing is the last flashback, right? Because then we're back in the
because
present.
Basically, that's how the Moe's rag ends up in Moe's hands. Is
Right.
his Yeti father gives it to him, and it becomes his blanket.
His Yeti father, you know.
There's got to be a name for it. Like, what's a Yeti dad pun?
His Yeti daddy.
Papa Yeti? His Yeti daddy? That's not bad.
But the problem is, we talked about this before. We don't ever see Mo interacting with the rag, and it's just this weird non sequitur about Everest. That's how he gets it.
That makes sense. That if that's your blankie and you grew up with him, of course you're going to be attached. But I need to see that. That should have been the B plot. We need to see him. Well, you can't just say, "Oh, he's been with the rag." At the end of the episode, at the end of this long journey throughout time, you can't just say, hey, Mo grew up with this rag and that's why he's close to him. That doesn't work.
I wrote at the end of this episode, this is exactly what I wrote. So the conceit of this episode is that this rag has existed since medieval France and came from this weird sheepbloods tapestry and can see the future, and the way Mo gets it is from an Everest expedition where also Mo was born from a Yeti.
So at the writers' retreat that summer, they put that up there
that was the idea
what
they
if Homer meets Lady Gaga? And they go,
right.
Yeah, these work.
Make them both. We got to get home. My wife's making goulash tonight.
Mrs. Jean, making
she
the
makes
Jean
a good
goulash.
I'm sure she does.
Then, back in present day, Mo is sleeping with the rag as a blankie. He's like sucking his thumb, and he's in bed, and he freaks out. Somebody steals it in the middle of the night.
Somebody takes the rag, and we don't even wait all that long to find out it was Marge.
That should have been all right. That should have been the beginning of the episode. Oh my God, where's my rag?
Where's my rag? It's
what's
gone.
the big deal about this rag, Mo? Well, let me tell you. He tells
Here's the story of
story
this rag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could
Instead
have been
of
something.
Jeremy Irons. I don't know. I guess how would he know about the French history?
Well, but he could just be making shit up.
I remember when my Yeti dad would sit me on his white fur lap and tell me the story of the origin of my rag.
Mo is ugly, and canonically ugly on the show. Yeah. He doesn't look like a Yeti. Like, if you're going to make him a literal son of a monster, why would you choose a Yeti? Where the fuck does a Yeti come from? You don't have to go to Everest. You could do literally anything that's happened in history.
Did the Yeti bang some kind of Italian immigrant?
I have no idea.
In his rape cult?
Honestly...
His abominable rape cult?
It is abominable, that's for sure. We can agree on that.
Anyway... So that should have been it. And now he's freaking out. Oh, my God. And then there's your story tension. Oh, my God. Is he going to get his best friend back?
That.
And then the end, it could be, oh, he didn't need the rag after all. He's got the Simpsons.
Right.
So that would have worked better. But that's not how it happens.
We sort of get there, but it's like there's one scene difference between him losing the rag and us realizing Marge took it. She washed it because she saw Mo, how attached he was to it, and she wanted to do a nice thing for him.
So she washes it and cleans it and dries it.
Right.
There's a joke. This is the joke I laughed at. I really like. Now I wrote it down. She puts it on the laundry, and it's folded on the dried laundry with Homer's tidy whities and towels.
Yes,
I forget what the rag says, but he's talking to the other laundry. He's like, "How's it going, guys?" Or I forget what it was. And Homer's tidy whities goes, "I'm trying to save my energy." He's going bike riding later, and I think the only reason it was funny was because of the droopy voice. It was.
I would agree with you.
Get him, fellas. That line. But also, it's more of again with the France's cave paintings. Sometimes tell, don't show works because you let your imagination do all the work. We don't need to see Homer bike riding and getting really bad swamp ass. Just the thought of it in the future is funny enough.
Agreed.
If we actually cut to him bike riding later and
the underwear is going like, oh bother,
oh dear, oh this ass sweat soaking my fibers. That's not funny. Just let our imagination do it.
Let us imagine the ass sweat.
So it ends with basically he finds it. Marge is like, I got the rag. And he realizes he doesn't need the rag. All the Simpsons are there. He makes some stupid joke about Milhouse's name. He calls him Maestro. I know it's some stupid name. Whatever. Why is Milhouse there? That B plot was terrible.
But garbage.
But basically, he realizes he doesn't need the rag. He's had friends and family all along. Which we went through this with like Flaming Moe's. We know Homer's your friend.
Yeah. It was just
season 23.
It was the token happy-ish ending that didn't make any fucking sense.
I've said I'm on record, I don't want to see the show get canceled. I said this on CBC. I would like to see more Simpsons episodes. It breaks my heart to think of a world without Simpsons, even though the episodes are terrible.
Yeah.
But we're in the 20s now. We're almost at season 30. I don't need to see another Mo finds companionship episode. I don't need that. We've had like 10.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and so he leaves the rag with Santa's little helper, and the rag is happy with that. He's just like, oh, a dog's unconditional love.
But then Maggie
Also,
and Santa's will help her fight over it.
Just because you found the family doesn't mean you have to get rid of your blankie. When you fell in love with Jangle and you ended up marrying her, you didn't say, well, I don't need Jack Pacone anymore.
I mean, I did, but then this podcast came around. And
she
I was like,
didn't watch The
right.
Simpsons. She was
She didn't watch
good.
I was going to be a husband and wife podcasting duo.
But you... never mind.
The only married podcast team.
There's others. They're terrible. But you don't... You can have the rag and the family's
you can
not
still
going to
keep
curl
the
up
rag.
with you. The Simpsons are going to curl up with you at night, no matter how many rape cults you have.
Couldn't agree more, Jack. Couldn't agree more.
This episode's poop.
Perhaps one of you garments would like to narrate for a while. Men's extra large underwear?
I'm saving my strength. He's going bike riding today.
All right, so that's going to be it for this episode. Moe's goes from rags to riches. It is time, finally, after all of these hours that we spent periscoping, to rank this episode on our patented Hippo scale. That is the humor, the integrity, the production values, and the originality of the episode. All right, let's put 2 minutes on the clock.
Beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, beep, beep, beep.
And the humor of this episode on a 0 to 5 scale, 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. Jack, what do you give this episode?
This is tough. I don't know. Like I said, I don't hate it as much as you, but I really don't like it.
Yeah.
I want to play a little Price is Right here. We got the audience.
Okay.
With some kind of delay.
With some kind of delay.
I want help from the audience, Price is Right style. What do you guys think? I've been ignoring your comments, like Dan says. We've been ignoring your comments for the most part because we're trying
I've
to
been
focus.
looking at them side-eyed while we're doing the podcast.
We glance at them, but we're trying to get through this fucking conversation. It's been 2.5 hours. But now we're looking right at them. What do we think here? What are we doing? Humor?
Humor,
0.5?
yeah. We got 1.5. No, I mean a single 0.5.
0.5 from Fisher Michaels. 0.5 from Shrek Tune. I like the underwear gag. I like the Wiggum pulling the Pringles, thinking it was the tear gas, thinking it was Pringles.
Yeah.
0.01. Dan Brio, smart, going with the 100th scale instead of the 10th scale.
That's not a bad scale.
A 0.5 from I hate to be offensive, but it looks like Pussy 02.
I think it's Puzik 02.
Puzik. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the C. Puzik 02. 02.
0.5 seems to be the favorite here. What do you think, Jack?
I like
knowing what the listeners think.
I like the underwear joke. I liked the French joke. What did I say? 3 jokes is worth?
I think you said 3 jokes is a half point.
All right. I feel like I was gonna go 1. I feel like these guys are swaying me a bit.
You were gonna go 1.
I might have gone 1. I don't know. I really this is one of the most up in the air rankings for me I can ever remember. I really don't know where I stand on this episode. I really don't. But it's our 100th episode. I love our fans. I'm going to let them sway me. I'm going to go 0.5.
I also love our fans, but I
love them more. I love the fans more.
I laughed a couple of times. Freed loves you the most of all.
No, he doesn't. Goofic just wants you to wear your helmet so you don't die. That's how much he loves you.
Hugh Stretch, rarely heard from, but I love the fans the most.
Jerry Van Dalek, little heard from, always loves the fans. Somehow turning it to Woody Allen here. I don't know.
Jerry Van Dalek, deep cut.
Deep cut.
I was going to go flat out 0.
All right, well, I'm not stopping you.
I'm going to go 0.5, but I may change it
You
to a
laughed
0.
a couple times. Yeah,
I
you
did
should
laugh
go
a
to
couple of
0.5.
times. But the integrity, Jack, 0 to 5. What do you think?
All right, how are the characters themselves? Well, we know Moe's a fucking loser, and we've seen it a million times. Guys, what do you got? What do you guys think for integrity? I'm.
What do you all think
also, this
this episode?
This would be emotion-wise.
As far as integrity?
This would be emotional ranking. Nothing really swayed me here. 0.5?
This episode has no
I'm going to go
emotion.
0.5. I'm going to go
This episode's a flaming pile of garbage, and I'm going to give it a 0 in integrity.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I consider 2.5 baseline integrity. Nobody's really acting out of character, right? Besides Grandma Bouvier dancing the jig and Homer defying physics.
Yes, that's true.
There's not really much. There's no jerk ass. A low integrity should be when you have jerk ass Homer or jerk ass Marge or whatever. This isn't good integrity, but it's not bad integrity. It's neutral. Oh yeah, Mo Yeti. Is that story?
Mo Yeti. That's canon.
Is that story or is that integrity?
That's a little bit of both, I think. I've just changed.
I'll go 1. Mo Yeti is taking me down, but honestly, I don't think.
I've just changed my scores.
I might go to 1.5.
While you were talking, I went back and gave humor a 0, and I'm going to give a 0.5 for integrity.
I'm going 1 for Mo Yeti. I might go back up to 1.5 because there's no other integrity flaws.
I don't know. I mean, this episode sucked.
The rag was
bad.
The rag was fairly consistent.
Yeah, Milhouse and Bart. What about them? There's no integrity there. They're just doing shit for the sake of the story.
So wouldn't it be the story's problem?
I guess, but you got to use characters to tell a story.
But it's out of nowhere. But they fit both characters. Bart really likes Milhouse.
Does it? Why does Bart want Milhouse back? At least in the previous episodes, we've seen why.
If Milhouse was to leave, Bart would want him back. That fits Bart's character. What's missing is the story incentive.
I guess. Also, a rag talks and a sponge and a pair of underpants. I'm going to split the difference.
I'm going to take a little away from integrity and a little from story. So I'm not going to go 2 down. I'm going to go 1.
All right.
0.5.
I still think 1.5 is way too high. But let's move on to production. 0 to 5 on that one, Jack. What are you thinking?
This porn bot agrees with me. She gave me a smiley face.
There you go. I mean, this is not a terrible looking episode, but
Sorting Hat.
it does look like the Sorting Hat.
Did they do you're traveling through time? You're spanning time.
Yeah.
You ever see that Buffalo 66?
No, I've never seen it.
That's such a good movie.
We've talked about it on one of the
You're
shows
spanning
before.
time. There should be some fun tricks with that, some fun transitions and such. There's so many fucking extra beats. What's extra beats? Where do we take points off than that? Extra beats and rotten beats. And
Let's put that in integrity and knock it down because you got way too high there.
1.5 is not way too high.
It's way too high. This episode is awful.
2.5 is C. 1.5 is D plus.
This is a D minus F episode.
In
all categories.
Okay, you can't give me shit for a D plus.
That's not a D plus. D plus would be
1.5 is D plus.
1 would be a D plus.
No, 1 would be a D.
No, 0.5 would be a. Oh no, I guess 0.5 would be a D minus. All right, I see what you're saying. The production. I mean, it's not a bad looking episode. There's a lot of things I don't like.
Some of these we should guess.
Maybe after the podcast, we'll see.
When the camera's closed.
There's nothing that I really if we're saying 2.5 is baseline, there's nothing that raises it up. I'm trying to think of things that brings it down.
Dancing sequence did nothing for me.
The dancing sequence did nothing for me.
Oh, Quimby.
The voices were off, yeah. So I'm already going probably below 2 for sure.
So I'll go 2.
I'm going to go 1.5.
I could go 1.5.
And then finally we have the originality, which 0 to 5. This is an original story.
Well, it's based on $20.
It's loosely the concept comes from these movies, but it's a talking rag on The Simpsons who tells us its life story, while Milhouse and Bart have a crappy
I think
story.
our regular listeners know I really, really heavily base the originality also on story structure. This is where we talk about script. This is where the episode is a fucking mess.
Yeah, I mean, just whether or not it's actually an original concept for an episode, if we're doing story structure here, the story structure is 100% terrible, so I am giving it a 0.
I'm going to give it a 0.5 because there is some originality to it.
You're being too generous on this episode.
My D minus is too generous, eh?
Yeah, I think it is.
Nah, I think my grades are perfect. Yeah, there's no story. 0 for story, 0.5 for originality.
All right. You're locked in here with your answers?
Yeah, I might go. I feel like I might go down to 1.5 for production, but the production's not that bad. It's the best part of the episode.
Well,
the least worst part of the episode.
If you change any of your rankings, it will probably be tied for worst episode ever. Right now, it is tied for second worst episode.
Oh my
ever.
god, that's a lot of
pressure.
That's a lot of pressure.
Where do you want this to be? I could also change mine, but if I went to 1 on production, what does that do?
But it's not a 1 in production. That's cheating.
Then it's a clean.
It's not a 1 in production.
Yeah, I know. I'm just playing around, seeing what the numbers are. I'm a new character. I don't know who this is.
Guys, what am I overrating too much? Production at 2 or integrity at 1.5?
If you are
not you.
I would say it's integrity.
You are wrong in your criticisms.
Integrity should go down.
I'm asking our fans, is integrity at 1.5 too high or is production at 2 too high? If I change anything...
Not if you change anything. If you go down in integrity or humor, I think then it would make it tied with worst episode ever.
The integrity is 1.5 integrity is fine. There's nobody's acting out of character besides Mo's dad, who is suddenly a Yeti.
So I think... if you went down on production or original, well, you're not going to go down on originality, but if you went down on production, I think it would make it a clear second worst episode ever. Which,
I'm giving a 0 in originality. Besides the 0.5 for the originality, I'm giving a 0 in writing structure because the B plot's so bad. I feel like to take even more points in integrity from that is too much. Is overkill. Yeah, I can't see anything I can't see any points to take away from this episode. I really thought the writing was shit. Is that integrity or is that originality?
If I put Q, which is the typo I just put in, then it's our worst episode ever.
I'm going to go 1 in integrity.
All right.
What's our worst episode ever now?
Blue and the Gray. Has been for a very long time. And if this isn't replacing it, I don't know what will.
But see, to me, that's a fundamentally worse episode because it's mean. And this is not mean. This is just static.
This episode is just...
what's the one? The walrus one. That one's mean. Homer is a mean character. This is not...
Bonfire of the Manatees.
This is harmless. This is nothing. This is just like a fucking, superficial wound on The Simpsons. It's just a bad episode.
But it's just
not the worst
funny.
Episode. It's not the worst episode. It's not. It's just there.
I'd rather watch Bonfire of the Manatees than this one again.
Because it's funnier?
Not even because it's funnier.
In it?
It was more of a story.
You would rather watch Homer bring a porn set into his house and then lie about it than watch nothing? Would you rather watch Batman versus Superman than watch nothing?
I mean, at least there's pretty explosions in Batman versus Superman, and I could laugh at it.
You know what? I just convinced myself. I'm leaving it.
Drink my pee-pee. I'm Lex Luthor.
I'm leaving it as is.
What if that became Lex Luthor's new thing? He just wanted people to drink his piss.
My newest plot.
Drink my pee-pee.
When this chemical enters the Metropolis water stream, all of H2O will turn into my urino.
All right, guys, so we have crunched our numbers, and I'm a little surprised. Jack is not.
I'm not surprised. I was expecting this to maybe be the worst episode ever. I'm ranking it in each specific category, I think, and it came out the way it came out.
This is not our worst episode ever.
I've said it before. These numbers don't reflect my gut. My gut best episode is the whale episode.
This is not the worst episode ever. It has ranked as a slightly better episode than The Blue and the Gray and a slightly worse episode than Sweets and Sour Marge. That puts it at number 2 on our worst episode ever list. The second worst episode ever.
Worst episode ever.
It's been a long time since we watched The Blue and the Gray.
It's been a long time.
Since a rock and roll.
It's been a free. It's Freed versus Zeppelin. It's 2 songs.
This is Bay Ridge Bob spinning the tricks.
I'm on AM and FM.
I'm on 2 frequencies. We have got to stop recording. Guys, thank you so much for everyone who joined us on Periscope Live. Thank you so much for everyone who has listened to this episode, for everyone who's listened to the past 100 episodes, who's listened to 90s Percentile, who's supported us at all. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely fucking terrific. We've done 100 episodes. We hope to do 100 more. We got a lot more Simpsons episodes to get through, so we're going to be here for a while.
1/6 done.
Yeah, 1/6 done, and they're going to be making more episodes.
26 a year about.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing here.
Goodness gracious!
If you like the show and you want to support us, you know what to do. You go to Amazon.wepodcast.com, shop like you normally would through Amazon. We get a small cut, helps keep the show free, keeps us in our Freets and Solid Gold studios and all the stuff that you guys like.
Remember, it's solid gold. We just plated it with nothing, with paint.
we painted over the gold.
Doing the reverse gold plate.
Absolutely. Yeah. What else we got? Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia. If you're in the Brooklyn area, that's the first Thursday of every month. I co-host that with friend of the show, Dan Ozzie. And we just had it the other week, and it was a lot of fun. So we always love when listeners come and say hi. So if you are in the area, you should definitely check it out. And wepodcast.com is our website. That's where you can get our Reddit, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. To get the video if you missed it, it'll be up there.
Some kind of link to Patreon.
Yes, Patreon will almost certainly be in, as long as we set it up, it will be in the show notes for this. We'll put it on the website. And
I'm sorry,
the rankings up there.
Somebody just commented, and by just I mean probably like 5 minutes ago, considering the delay. Yeah. 100 seasons and a movie.
Oh, boy.
Our first season was 85 episodes. So
yeah. We're on track.
8,500 episodes. What's the movie? What's the movie gonna be?
We did already do the Simpsons movie.
Oh, okay.
$2.
I was expecting like a movie starring us.
A movie starring. We can do that
like
too.
Like some kind of Borat. I don't like
$10 million. We'll make a Borat starring us. I don't know what that would be.
Naked wrestling.
All right, guys. If we get $20 million,
20 million, we will wrestle naked.
we will do a naked wrestling
for
movie.
30 seconds. 20 seconds. $1 million a second. 20. Dan's never seen my penis, apparently, so...
That's not true.
Oh, you have seen it, yeah. You just haven't seen it recently.
I don't know how it's grown since high school.
It's gotten bigger.
That's good. That's real good. I'm happy to hear that.
Most of it's gotten bigger.
Oh, God. Guys.
Won't say which part's frozen time.
We have had such a
The
blast.
shaft.
Oh, boy. We have had a lot of fun here
Just
tonight.
a big head. And
I thought your shoulder hurt.
it hurts so much.
We've had a terrific time here tonight. This was like a 3-hour record with lots of technical difficulties, but we've done it. This is a great episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We are going to be back in 2 weeks for our next episode.
101.
101.
It's like the Dalmatians movie, but instead of Dalmatians, it's episodes
of The Simpsons. So now that we've done 100, we're going to change things up slightly. And the episode we're going to be doing is from season 8.
That's not a post-classic episode.
What? I think we're just opening the floodgates. We can just
We're gonna do whatever the fuck
whenever.
we want.
We're gonna fuck anything that moves.
We're like anarchists on podcasts. Fuck you, Terry Gross.
That's right. Why do you say that, Jack? This is Terry Gross.
You don't listen to Fresh Air.
I don't. I have no idea what
That's
Terry
a
Gross
terrible
sounds
Terry
like.
Gross. She sounds like this.
Oh, hello, I'm Terry Gross. I sound kind of like Freedy Gross. The face you just gave me, priceless. And everyone gets to see it, too. I love it. This is amazing. Guys, we're going to do an episode from season 28. It's called Homer's
Season
Enemy.
28.
Oh, yeah, season regular 8.
You punched me. Why'd you punch me? At least it was my good shoulder.
We have got to stop recording this
You
episode.
just punched me out of nowhere. Oh, season 28. You punched me.
Season regular 8.
Great. Is that the J.J. Abrams movie?
Is that a review of the movie? It was regular 8. It wasn't so super.
It wasn't that super.
We're doing an episode from season 8, Homer's Enemy, the Frank Grimes episode. I just watched myself punch you.
Why'd you punch me? I was out of nowhere.
We're having a lot of fun at We Studios tonight.
So much pain. I gotta go to the hospital.
Season 28, Homer's Enemy. We're going to be doing that one. That's the Frank Grimes episode. That's what we're going to do next time. You can watch it on Simpsons World. You can get it on DVD. Jack is dying.
It hurts so much.
That's going to do it for this episode, guys.
Dad's punching
It's
me.
been a terrific 100 episodes.
Punch me again.
It's been a terrific 100 episodes. We hope that you stick with us for the next 100 and beyond.
Yes, from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah, and we don't have any cut all this submissions, so if you do want to submit one, you absolutely can do that on our website.
Let's get it. Well, we got to wait like 12 seconds. But hey, if you guys can type fast enough, give us a cut all this, and we'll read them all, and we're going to
And
just
then
get
that'll
out.
be the end.
And thank you to our listeners, but we're probably going to cut out as soon as we read your comments. So thank you for everybody who stuck up. It's fairly late. It's 1. That's late
1 in
for
the morning.
us.
That's
It's
very late for me.
That's not super late
My
for
wife
most
is
normals.
very confused. I thought you'd be done much sooner than this.
Nope, it's we 100.
Why are you not here?
I'm punching Jack.
I'm
So
too
anyway,
busy punching him out.
So if you guys have any cut all this, you want to text us, Get Home Save Dan by Dan Brio.
Get home safe, Dan. Thanks, guys. Heart emoji.
Man, our porn numbers.
We're just reading them out loud. Log in to comment.
We love our porn listeners.
Cut all this.
Jules 410.
Love that one.
With a little underscore in between.
Oh, yeah. Cut out this. Cut all this. We're
Dan
getting.
Brio, Shrek Tune, Fisher
Cut
Michaels, cut all
of this.
And if you guys, it's super simple. Just record it on your phone. Give us a real one.
Cut most of these, Fisher Michaels says.
Pusico2 is just asking, cut all this. The porn bot's giving it.
Giving us emojis.
Maybe it's
I don't
one of our
even know.
fans who just has a bikini photo. As
Cut all of this. Shiz, shut mall, Miz.
Shut Mall Miss. As in Richard Mall.
I guess.
His wife.
You talking about the voice of Two-Face on Batman, the animated series? But Paul Diz? I think the next one Sideshow Mill should read.
Plasma Works joined.
Cat
Devil
emoji.
face. Is that what that
That's a
is?
cat.
That's a cat. It's purple. And it's got like evil eyebrows.
Guys, I think that's it for this episode.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Jack hurt his shoulder again. Smut tall piss.
I'm in hell. I'm in hell. I'm in hell. I'm in hell.